what's the remainder when we're dividing this polynomial by by x plus 2? That was my next question. What should I plug in? I just gave you the answer. -2. So I'm going to plug in -2. Okay. Ooh, what if I didn't have a calculator on my provincial exam? What is a negative number to the 5th? Positive or negative? Negative. You should have these memorized from the exponents unit. What's 2 to the 5th? What did you say? You don't know? Well, what's 2 cubed? 8. What's another times 2, which is 4th? 8 times 2 is 16. Now that's the 4th time. What's the 5th time? If we do 16 times 2, 32. See, you could do that without your calculator. What's this? We can do it. Plus 24 plus 1 is -7. Okay. So the remainder is -7. So if I asked you a follow-up question, is -2 an x-intercept? No, because the remainder is not 0. Okay, synthetic division. I'm going to put the -2 on the outside. Okay, now you can look. Does this have any gaps in degrees? What do you think? Yes, a lot. So 1, because that's a 5th. How many fourths? 0. How many cubes? 0. How many squareds? 0. How many x's? How many numbers? Okay, we had a lot of gaps. Okay, do we remember this? Should be fresh. Bring this down. 1 times -2, add.
I don't get where you getting the zeros though.
Because I have to write this in order, so x to the 5th plus no x fourths plus no x cubed plus no x squareds minus 12x plus 1. If they have to go down, 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 down in exact order. You have to have the spots for those. Okay, 4, then this would be a -8 and a 16. So that adds to 4, back to a -8 there, which makes -7. Okay, I'm going to ask this, even though I didn't put on this question. Can you write the quotient for me? How would you write this as a quotient? Just practicing that skill. So we had a 5th. We started in a 5th and divided by an x. So this is now going to be a 1x4 minus 2x cubed plus 4x squared minus 8x plus 4. And then how do you write the remainder? This is my add symbol. Subtracts out. Okay. Given that x minus 1 is a factor, we have to write this as a product of factors. Okay, so I'm going to Put a 1 out front. Now I'm going to write these numbers. Are there any gaps? Yep. There's no x squareds, so we better put a 0 in the squared position. So 1, 0, negative 57, and 56. By the way, it should come out to 0 at the end because it told us, right? Okay, so our first factor was x minus 1. Then our next factor is, how do you write that? It was a cubed, so now the result is a squared. Then, can you break that down by hand? Multiplying to 56. 7 times 8. I need a plus 1. So on that question, I might have gone even further and I might have said, can you state all the x-intercepts? That could have been a question. So if I asked that, what would you say? What are all the x-intercepts? 1, 7, and negative 8. What if I did not even give you one of these? Where would you start if I didn't even give you one? You start testing, yeah. 1, negative 1, 2, negative 2, until you get one thing to work, and then you go into your synthetic. Okay, graph. So what do I start with here? How many x's do I have in all? You have an x to the 4th, and it's a negative. How would that look to you in just a general sense? Upside down W, that's kind of what you're looking for. Okay, so I'm going to cross the x-axis at 2. At 1, what's happening special at 1?
It's a B.
A B, a bounce. You're going to bounce there. And at negative 1. And I know my arrows are going to be like that. Okay, there's one other thing I need. I need the Y-intercept. So that means I'm going to think about what's happening if x was 0. What's the y when x is 0? So negative 1 in the front, 0 minus 2, 0 minus 1 squared, and 0 plus 1 makes, what kind of 2 is it going to be? Positive or negative? We got all kinds. It's a 50-50 chance of you getting it right.
4 positive?
Positive 2.
How is it positive 2?
Because we have a negative, a negative, a negative squared, which makes altogether how many negatives? 4 negatives. Okay.
But like, if you times it, doesn't it give you 4 instead of 1? I mean 2.
I'm squaring 1, the negative 1, which is just 1. This is 1, this is 1, this is a negative 2, and this is... Okay, what should I do to make sure I'm going to get full points here? Haven't gotten full points yet, so close. I didn't label what my ticks are. Make sure you have some kind of labeling. Okay, the other question on your exam I would be ready for is, can you do this? Working backwards. Can you make the equation? Almost all of the questions on your exam, you better be ready to be able to graph it if I give you the equation, or you better be able to make an equation if I give you the graph or conditions, like the domain has to be this, or the hole has to be here. So every single function you got to be able to go backwards, graph it, or go back to the equation.